Welcome to U.S. Rugby Happy Hour Live. Interviews with the biggest names in American rugby.
The New England Free Jacks, Major League Rugby champions. One-on-one to score.
Here are your hosts, Bill Baker and that other guy.
Hey everybody, I am Bill Baker. This is John Fitzpatrick, and this is U.S. Rugby Happy Hour Live. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Finally got that line perfect. It's been 10 episodes so far. Got it down. Hopefully everyone got that and heard it. What's going on, Fitzy? How are you?
Bill, I'm doing great today, man. It's hard to believe, but we're into week 4 of MLR. But seriously, like we talked about this last episode, from here through like August, there's not a weekend where there isn't awesome rugby going on, whether it's MLR, whether it's internationals, you name it. It's happening, man. So strap in.
There's so much. I mean, just domestically, there's so much, especially with the USA matches coming up again soon.
Yeah.
MLR's been great. I mean, even the teams that we thought there's no way they're going to perform. I mean, Anthem has not looked horrible. They've done some good stuff with that young crowd. LA's done. I think they've performed well. They haven't won, but I think they're putting things together. Miami the same way. They're just. I can see Miami possibly putting a win or two on the board.
I think in week 4 here we could see both LA and Miami get in the win column. Yeah,
well, I'm excited about our first guest in a couple of minutes. His match, coming up. Is it Friday night or is that Saturday? I forget. Yeah, Friday Night Lights.
Yep.
Undefeateds at Starfire, and I've been there. I know he's been there. I don't know if you've been there, but that's a great crowd. It's a tough place to play.
Yeah.
So it is really cool. Before we get going, I want to promo something. I haven't told much people about this, but I just did an interview with the directors of this movie called Uproar. All right, it's a really good film. It's based out of New Zealand back in 1981. You can see the names of the talent in it right there, and I'll talk about them in a second. But I had a chance to talk to the directors of this film, and keep that low so you can see it. But as you see, Julian Dennison is the star of this film, and everyone knows him from a bunch of different films, including Ryan Reynolds films. Minnie Driver, I mean, and Rhys Darby is so good in this film, but it's so emotional, and there's a rugby aspect to this film that it's not the main part of it, but it's an important part of the film. And I was actually thrown back about how they were able to, shoot the film for like these old 1981 rugby scenes because they had the old cotton jerseys on, Fitzy?
Yeah.
But, it's got a great cast, and it was such, you can see Julian doing the hawker right there. It was actually during one of audition tapes. But in this interview with, I'm going to go ahead and close it off. There you go, him playing prop. In this interview with the directors, what did the director's name? Oh, Hamish Bennett and Paul Benedict. They're so involved. They lived it. At least Hamish did in New Zealand. He's a Maori. And they talk about the race issues in '81 when South Africa toured New Zealand. But it's really about this Maori area where the racism they're going through in all white schools, that kind of stuff. But they, and by the way, Paul in the middle there, he actually produced one of the most famous ads, at least out of the Southern Hemisphere. Carlsberg, I can't say it. Carlton Draft, I think it's called. It's called The Big Ad. So he was behind it. You got to look it up one time. Check it out. I mean, he, it's actually a really cool ad because it's like that Super Bowl ad that you would do if you had the money. The whole entire time, a bunch of people singing, "It's a big ad! It's a big ad!" It's really cool. So that interview we're going to push that on Friday night this week.
Okay.
So look for that amongst these other interviews, also with tonight's guests as well. So a lot of fun talking to those two, and a good time. Other than that,
the movie's got Murray from Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, yes.
Jermaine?
Yep.
Check.
Reese's, by the way, Reese's mannerisms, the one on the left in this whole movie, just cracked me up. And it is a funny movie, but it's definitely, it's okay. I'm a crier. I was crying during one of his last scenes that Minnie Driver put on. Minnie's is Julian's or Josh's mother in this movie, and it's so good. So it's in select theaters right now. Just came out this past weekend, and I'm sure it'll be on Netflix or something like that soon this year. So check it out. We got some ticket stuff to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So USA Rugby, the Women's Eagles are taking on Canada, hosting Canada April 28th. That's the first time the U.S. women have played on U.S. soil since what, like 2021 or something like that? Can you believe it? part of that American series. It's good to see both the men's and women's Eagles taking on Canada, our friendly rivalry up north. But the great part about that April 28th game is that that's a doubleheader. There's an MLR game with the RFC LA. But we've got two things going on, right, Bill? We've got a ticket giveaway. So either on my Instagram, Rugby Morning, or Bill's Instagram or Twitter, Eagle Overseas, we are giving away 2 free tickets. So you have 2 chances to win either Rugby Morning or Eagle Overseas. You have to follow us, find our post, like it, and then explain why you prefer Rugby Morning or Eagle Overseas over the other one, and we'll pick 2 randomly. So four people have a chance to
actually for 6 people.
6.
So
that's right,
where you're given 2.
Right.
Eagles Overseas given 2. This show is giving away 2.
Yes.
So as you tune to this show, drop a comment, mostly Facebook and the YouTube feeds.
Yeah.
Go ahead and write. I want tickets, and then leave a comment. Leave a comment for our first guest, David Coetzer, and then Charli, Jacoby later.
Mm-hmm.
Do it, and that will put you pretty high up at the top of that list for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't win the ticket giveaway, it's all good. You can receive 10% off your ticket purchase. We'll share the link out, but you can use promo code either Eagle Overseas or Rugby Morning. I would prefer you use Rugby Morning for obvious reasons. But if I won't be offended if you use Eagles Overseas, perfectly fine. Just
I won't either.
Let's sell it out. Let's pack out the house. It's gonna be a huge match. It's the start of the women's Pac 4 series. Great way to kick off 2024. So let's sell it out. Let's pack out the house.
Absolutely. All right. One last thing before we get to our first guest.
Yeah.
Listeners, please follow, and subscribe to this show. YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube feed. That really helps us get up in the rankings. And Facebook, like the Facebook account. And like I said, follow us also on social media, Eagles Overseas and Rugby Morning. And we are on most social media channels. Pretty easy to find us. And we have a couple of newsletters for you to get on as well. All right. With that said, let's jump into our first guest. This guy is Week 2 MLR Team of the Week member. Then he got a nice rest last weekend so he could prepare for this show. Nothing else, just to get ready for this show. Let's all welcome Houston SaberCats fly half, David Coetzer. How are you, Davy?
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm doing good.
I'm horrible with names. I've heard your name a number of times. Am I saying your last name right?
I mean, I'll give it to you. That's good enough. Yeah.
Oh, no, Bill, you didn't.
Woo! How you doing, Davey?
Not good. It's been a short week of prep. Short turnaround from Saturday to Seattle this weekend, but it was a good week of training, so just excited for this weekend. It'll be a big one.
Yeah, we're going to jump into that in a second, but let's go back to not this past weekend, but the prior weekend when you made your Team of the Week selection. Dude, you had to have been sore after that match. A lot of tackles. I mean, a lot of flying offloads. A lot of meters gained as well. That was a heck of a match for you. You must have been proud of yourself after that game. Yeah,
going to LA, especially a team that plays so much, and they just constantly came at it. They don't ever die down, and it was just a continuous game until 80 minutes. It was tough out there. Lungs were burning quite a bit. Had quite a few meters on the legs, but after the first week's performance, I wasn't really happy with my performance in that first week. A lot of rustiness. So that was like the big thing. I just wanted to get a good game under the belt as well, and I felt like I stepped it up a bit from week 1 to then. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that performance.
All right, you just mentioned a second ago, you've got Seattle Friday night. We mentioned it also in the pre-show. Big match, 2 undefeated. It's early in the season. Talk about preps for this match. Anything specific you're working on to help your chances of winning this game?
I think for this game, it's more mental than anything else. I think such a short turnaround, you can't prep too much, try and focus too much on the other team. It's more about focusing on what we can do and how we can improve our game. Like I think especially the last 3 weeks games, there's been some good passages of play, some good moments we've showed, but a game like that, you have to put everything together and actually come up with a good performance because it's not an easy place to play. not to say to win there is a very tough thing to do. So it's more about just getting the mental side right and everybody being on board with what we want to achieve and what we want to do, and go out there and execute it. That's the main thing, is executing what we want to do as a team, not focus too much on what they want to do or what they're going to do. It's more about us getting our things right.
Now, Davey, of course, us in the media are hyping this game up, right? Because it's the two last unbeaten teams in MLR right now, and it's Friday night, right? There's something fun about being the only team playing on Friday night. But with its being so early in the season, do the boys still feel? Does this game feel like something more because it is two unbeaten teams, or are we just still too early in the season to really try and draw anything meaningful, win or loss coming from it?
No, I think from both sides, it's a very meaningful game. Every time we play against Seattle, I think there's quite a bit of a rivalry there, especially within the two teams, the players. Even if you speak to some of their boys, it's like almost like a kind of a derby against each other. So no, it's absolutely both teams want to win. We're not taking this game lightly. We know what we're facing. We know what it's going to be like. It's not going to be easy out there, but I think both teams we want to win, especially so early in the season. You want to start stacking up those wins, put pressure on different teams, and I think where we are at the moment, both teams, or 3 out of 3, it's a big game, especially when you play against teams from your same conference. It's massive to get wins, especially away from home. So that's what we're targeting this weekend.
And you mentioned we did talk about the scene at Starlink in Seattle, how it's a great crowd. Pre-show we mentioned about New England as well. And maybe more of a derby atmosphere. Where else is a tough place where it's a real competitive match?
Seattle, I'd say, is tough. I remember when we played in DC, when was it, 2 years ago? My first year, crowd was pretty rowdy out there as well. But yeah, I would say Seattle is definitely the toughest place to play. I remember every time you kick a goal, you can barely hear anything else on the field. The crowd is so loud out there. So it's a tough place to play, and they do get behind their team. I'll give it to them. But it's the same thing when we play at home. I feel like we also have such a great crowd, and that's the great thing about this league. I think the more supporters and more fans are getting involved in the game, it's like home field is definitely an advantage. Mm-hmm. And that's the way you like it, and even there, going to play at Seattle, even though the crowd's loud and not for you, it's always great to hear voices and a loud spectator base out there.
Yeah, Davey, I got a quick question about that. We just had a chat saying from USA Rugby League fan that Seattle Houston's going to be a heavyweight showdown, and I definitely agree. And Houston's home crowd has been phenomenal the last few seasons. But I got to ask you a question about that, right? Because, here in the States, you probably know, you've seen it, right, in other sports like basketball or football or even baseball, right? Like the opposing crowd shouts and yells during like free throw shots or like pitches.
Yeah.
As a kicker, how do you feel about the opposing team kind of getting loud when you're lining up for a kick? I mean, you hear it, but do you like it, or just what are your thoughts when you try and line up a kick and you got that crowd yelling at you?
That's a great question, actually. I try to tell myself that I don't like it or that it doesn't bother me, but I think when they do get loud like that, you still hear it. As much as you try and block it out and stuff like that, it will affect it in a way, but all you try and do is just stick to your process. I think that's the main thing. Trying to go through your normal process and execute what you have to do. But I would say you definitely hear them out there. Obviously, we'd prefer as kickers if everyone was quiet, but I mean, growing up as well, you've always, like, even high school and stuff like that, you face that. It's part of the game. So you do get used to it eventually, or you have to get used to it, let me put it that way.
One more. Yeah, David, quick question. Have you heard anything like that was kind of funny where you had to like pause for a second and not laugh?
No, nothing specific. I think when it's like a massive crowd, you just hear that loud roar of people. You can't really identify a single voice. But I remember, like I said, in DC 2 years ago, I did have some people, they're just like giving me banter, like number 10, you're gonna miss this, and and just give me stuff like that. But I usually find it funny because the best thing is if you can execute that kick and you kick it over, just to give a little glance at the crowd, that's the best part of it. Keep him quiet.
Was that you, Fitzy? That was you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it could have been my buddy Alistair Kirsch-Poole, who goes to every single home game. It could have been him. And if that was him, I apologize. But
no, I actually enjoy that. I think it's usually funny.
Oh, that's great.
So you mentioned that you experienced that in schoolboy, high school, that kind of stuff. I always see that as kind of an Americanized kind of thing for the sport. With that said, some players have said that maybe to have this league succeed in the United States, maybe we do have to Americanize it a little bit. Not necessarily the rules, but maybe the presentation, the entertainment side of it, the fans yelling at the kicker. Is that something that you could buy into?
Absolutely. I mean, if it brings in more people to come watch the game, I think that's the main thing at the moment is, especially like in USA rugby at the moment, we need to cater for whatever's going to bring the people in. If that's entertainment and that type of thing, then so be it. I think the big thing is how do we get the fan bases in and how do we get people more involved in the game? And I think especially the entertainment part of it is essential for that. If there's things for them to come enjoy the game, because I think like most of you know, some people come for the first time, they don't really understand the rules of the game. At least if they enjoy themselves and there's entertainment out there for them wanting to come back to more games, you'll learn the game as it goes. But I think whatever brings the crowds and the fans in is the most important part for now. Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about your teammates, Davy. Obviously, you share the number 10 with AJ Alitumu, who played for Seattle last year. Any words of wisdom from him about the team you're about to face, and also, are you two traveling for this match?
Yes, we'll be traveling for this match.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost him.
Yeah, AJ is such an experienced player. It's easy when you've got someone like that on the team, especially the way we've been handling like the last couple of months. It's not about competing for a position really. It's actually trying to help each other out as much as we can. And I'm always keen to learn from someone that has that experience. He's such a great player and a better person off the field as well. So I know he's very excited for this weekend. Obviously, it's a massive weekend for him. So, yeah, look, if we can go out there and get it done, for him, it'll be massive as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, David, let's talk a little bit more about this current team. I mean, I think we all know there's a pretty heavy South African influence, with the SaberCats from the top down. But speak a little bit more about what is kind of the brand of the rugby in Houston there. What's kind of the team identity or the style that you guys want to play?
Yeah, I think like you guys have seen probably in the last couple of years, it's winning set piece dominance. I think that's all rugby in general. If you have a pack that can dominate from the front, that sets everything up for the rest of them. But that being said, I think the last 2 years we played a very simplistic style of rugby. Sometimes people could say it was pretty boring to watch. So what we did was out of last year, they took feedback from the players, coaches, assessed everything from the year, and we try to find ways where we can express ourselves within our system. So that's like getting the backs involved in how we can play a more effective brand of rugby with not just being about the scrums or the mauls or things like that. So the set piece and the forward pack, that's still the main priority. It's like you have to win it up there if you want to win games. I mean, if you come up in a game, you can't win your lineouts, you can't win your scrums, chance of you winning a game is slim. And I think our kicking game is also a massive part of how we play. We try to pressure and suffocate teams and get results from that. So I think that's mainly our identity is being strong up front and then having a good and efficient kicking game. And then when we get the opportunities to strike and get the momentum, use the backs, yeah.
Now, let's talk about the forwards for a second. On one of the forwards, and I apologize. I was just texting somebody. I may have missed it, but the young kid, Seth Smith.
Yeah.
It's nice to see a kid coming to the league that young and growing up through the academy system. Hopefully we see more of that. So we'll talk about Seth a bit.
Such a great player. I'll tell you, I think in a couple of years I think he'll definitely be an Eagle. He's got such a good attitude and such a great work ethic. I mean, off season he was running with a couple of us every single day out of trainings. Such a workhorse, and the thing I like about him the most is he's so eager to learn. So it's not that he's 18 years old, he made an MR and he's thinking, he's made it or whatever. It's that constant thing that he wants to keep on learning. He's asking questions to the right guys all the time, trying to make an impact like that. And that's what I'm saying. He's got the right attitude. That's why I think he'll definitely go for such a beast of a player as well. I couldn't believe that an 18-year-old can match up to some of the big boys like that. So yeah, I think he's an unbelievable prospect for USA one day for sure.
Well, David, we had Seth on a couple of weeks ago, and you talk about a good attitude. He kept calling me and Bill sir, and I was like, Seth, I appreciate that, but you don't have to call me sir. Okay, you leave that for my dad.
Yeah. Oh, hey. He's a good kid.
He's a little gentleman. That's what he is. For sure.
So you mentioned him being a USA Eagle a moment ago, or potentially down the road a moment ago. So a question of a lot of us are asking, looking at how much time you spent in the U.S. so far, is playing for the Eagles hopefully in your future plans?
As of now, I'm taking it year by year. My plan is to stay in America. We'll see what the future holds, but if the time does come and that opportunity presents itself, it's definitely something I would be keen on doing. But for now, it's just taking it year by year and playing, trying to focus on my year, like personally in rugby, how it's going for me, and then if it happens to come up and the opportunity is there, it's something I'll definitely be keen on doing in the future.
And what are the fly halves with you growing up? What other players have you followed? Like, who have been those? You probably haven't been a fly half since forever, but which players did you love growing up?
I used to love watching Dan Carter. I know he was a Kiwi. I probably shouldn't be saying that. Should probably be saying some South African, but I used to love watching Dan Carter growing up. I mean, he just had like a complete game to him, and always aspired to be like him. And then like the modern era, it's Andre Pollard, Damian McKenzie, guys like that. Absolutely love watching them play. Just complete generals of the game. And that's the type of game you try and become in yourself. I think Andre Pollard and McKenzie in the current times, but Dan Carter will forever be my number one. Yeah.
I like him too.
Yeah, David, as you talking a little bit, stepping back, just talking a little bit about you've been living here in the States for a bit, but traveling through the U.S. Have you had a favorite city that you've been to, or is there a part of the country that you haven't been to yet that you're keen to check out?
I do enjoy California quite a bit. Every time I go there, beaches. Actually enjoyed when was it LA 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Went for early morning swim there at the beach before the game, so that was pretty nice. Then somewhere I want to go still, and that's in my plans to travel this year. I want to go to Nashville, little country. That's definitely somewhere I want to go. And then I really enjoy going down to Fort Worth. They're close by Dallas. Yeah, I enjoy going there as well. I think usually when we have some time off, I usually go down there for a weekend or so. I really enjoy it there as well.
Have you been to the Austin area, and/or have you gone to a University of Texas football game yet?
I haven't. That was the one thing we were trying to do. I think it was last year, but it's just like I heard it's crazy. It's difficult to get tickets as well, and I don't know really where to go watch. But that's one we want to go to. I know in College Station, but it's just a couple of hours away from here. But that is definitely on the bucket list to go watch one of those games. So it gets absolutely crazy out there.
Well, like at least 100,000 fans for an amateur sport. That's crazy.
Yeah, they said the tailgating is better than the actual game. So I think that's one thing I need to go check out.
Yeah, you still have to make it into the game, so be careful with the tailgating. If it's going to jump on this one, who was it we had? Gary Gold, I think, was on one point, and another player mentioned monkey gland sauce.
Matt Heaton. Was it Matt Heaton?
Is it Matt Heaton? I forget. Are you familiar with that?
Monkey gland sauce.
Yeah.
No? All right.
Nah.
Isn't that South African?
It could
Like
be.
like a barbecue sauce?
Oh, it could be.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe if it's like a brand associated with it.
I hope it's a brand because I don't want that to be in the ingredients.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not actually too sure what it is.
Well, I guess
So,
yes. Well,
you go ahead,
sorry.
Davey.
Yeah.
No,
To
sorry.
that question, yeah, I guess like as it relates to Texas, Texas does barbecue pretty well. Houston does barbecue pretty well. Memphis, Nashville. Are you a barbecue guy? I guess first question there.
I do like barbecue, but I just can't eat too much of it. It's a little bit too rich for me. I struggle eating too much of it. But it is good. I have had some barbecue, yeah. Especially in Texas. I mean, there's quite a lot of barbecue places around, and I have had it, and I do enjoy it. It's just I just can't eat too much of it. It's just a little bit too rich for me.
You need to have more Fijian players or Samoans and have them do a little pig roast. You just gotta find the beach.
Yeah, they actually do it. Yeah, I think like every year we try and like do the different culture thing in our team. So it's like from different places. Let's say South African 1 week or 1 month, and then the Islanders will be a different. And they have actually done that before. Roasted a pig for us. So that was great.
That was great. Oh yeah, so good. That was the best thing about me playing with some of my Fijian teammates. Two things: one, the food, and they were on my team, not the other one, because they were just so good.
I know. I'm also glad we have him on our team.
So, Davey, you're in Seattle Friday night. Where's the team playing the following week?
Sorry?
Where are you guys playing the following week? So you have Seattle Friday night.
We've got Seattle Friday, and then it's Dallas. Dallas the following Friday in Dallas, just before Easter weekend. Yeah.
Is that what the Texas Cup? Is that what that is?
I don't know if the Texas Cup is still going. I remember a couple of years ago with Austin in there, it was still a thing, but I don't know if it's still a thing.
Well, David, man, listen, we've taken up enough of your time. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been great talking to you, and I know that question about USA comes up, and you're probably like, all right, someone else is going to ask me that question. So, but we do have listeners always like, please ask them. Okay, fine. Leave me alone.
No, it's all good.
but we've interviewed Scott Lawrence, we've interviewed a bunch of the USA players and the coaches, and I love Adrian McGinty. I love watching him play, but age, everything else happens, so you got to look for depth at certain positions. So we look at players like you. Well, we as fans look at players like you.
Yeah.
Hopefully stepping in or getting your chance. We got 13 Fitzy with 13 men's matches this year.
Yeah. Or 9 maybe.
No, well, I think there's gonna be more added. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. There's matches on the schedule. That's all that matters. There's matches on the schedule.
That's good. Yeah. The more they play, the better they're gonna get for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, buddy. Thanks again, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. All
right. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah. Good guy. Good conversation. I'm glad we finally talked to him. It's just funny asking that question about USA Rugby players.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's it going to be? Yeah. Give me the fucking ball. Everyone else sucks.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about it, right? Sure, Scott Lawrence and the coaching staff are looking about, behind AJ, okay, looking at 27 and 31, who's coming up in the pipeline. And, it sounds like there's a number of some domestic options there. It's kind of the U20 stage, but in that in-between interim, certainly we got Luke Hardy, but, more names we can throw in there. And if, Davy's getting close to being eligible, then throw him in the mix. Let's go, So
look at this comment.
Monkey gland sauce.
All right, so Fitzy, listen, before we get on to our next guest, I'd like for you to tell our listeners about the giveaway and the ticket sales available to them. So go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we are working with the USA Rugby on a ticket giveaway. So we actually have 6 tickets to give away. So 2 from the Rugby Morning platform, All Good Bill, 2 from the Eagle Overseas platform, and then 2 from our show here, US Rugby Happy Hour Live. So find us on social, find the post. You got to follow us, like, and then comment which you prefer, Rugby Morning or Eagle Overseas. It doesn't matter, but just participate, tag a friend. And then, of course, if you can comment here on the show, you get an opportunity to win 2 free tickets to the game April 28th when USA Women host Canada for the first time since, I think, 2021. Let's pack it out. But if you don't win the ticket giveaway, you do have a chance here to receive 10% off your ticket purchase. We'll share the link in a second. You can use promo code Eagle, either Eagle Overseas or Rugby Morning, and save 10% off of your ticket purchase. Again, let's pack out the house. Let's welcome such a great rivalry and kick off the Pack 4 series by selling it out. Let's do it.
Yeah, like the old saying, I forget what I was saying. It's like an old mental health commercial. If you don't get help with us, get help somewhere. If you don't get tickets through us, get tickets through someone else. Because listen, the USA Rugby is really setting out the word to get people in the stands. And like you mentioned earlier, Fitzy, it is a doubleheader. It's not 100% confirmed, but there is going to be a doubleheader, and I believe it's obviously LA, and I believe it's the Free Jacks. I'm not 100% just yet. But yeah, I mean, for the price of a ticket, one ticket, two great matches. And absolutely. I'm still thinking about making my way out there for that for multiple reasons.
Fantastic. Davy was out there. He took an early morning swim. You can get a surf in.
Yeah. All right, listen, let's not keep our second guest waiting much longer. I was just corner of my eye, I saw her walking around the house. I think we might lose her. So our next guest, I can't help but say this whenever we have somebody in that other time zone, but she is joining us all the way from tomorrow in Queensland, Australia, and also here to sing Dolly Parton's Jolene for us. Let's welcome Charli Jacoby.
Hey guys,
hey, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
Good. Wait, go ahead.
Charli, are you a big Dolly Parton fan? Is that the reference?
No.
Because I don't get this. What's
we changed the lyrics to sing for our teammate Doreen. And so naturally, I keep joking around that I'm the personality hire here, and I've got the loudest voice in the room. So of course, I was belting it on top of my lungs.
Yeah. So the Reds posted a video today on social media. It's actually really well done. I think maybe for preparing for the last match, it's a really good video. And then in there, it's Charli in there just belting it out in the middle.
I got to check this out.
Gotta bring the vibes up, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, Charli, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me. I am definitely in tomorrow. I'm in the future. It feels pretty crazy.
Who went? No, never mind. What were you doing a minute ago? At corner of my eye, I see you walking around the room.
I was actually, it's such a weird day today. It's super windy and very overcast. And so it was so windy. I was pulling the doors and the blinds closed because I was afraid that the wind was going to mess with the sound. So I was closing the doors.
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
Professional. I wish Fitzy would do that, but
I'm trying. Okay.
So Charli, big move for you. Where are you and why are you there?
Yeah, so I'm in Queensland, Australia. So I'm in Brisbane right now. And just kind of decided I played in the Prem, as you know, for the past 2 seasons, and went back home to Chicago for a bit to try to make a little bit more money. And I was like, man, I'm not ready for this normal life yet. And so spoke to our new head coach, Sione, and he's got some pretty strong ties out here with the Queensland Reds community, as he was the coach last year. And so he was like, why don't you go try that out? And so I was like, okay, it's definitely a different style of rugby. So came out here for the Super W season, and then I'll stay on afterwards for the club competition afterwards.
And what club? I saw they listed Bond University under your name. What's that?
Yeah, so it's out in the Gold Coast, which I'm actually super pumped about. So I'm in Brisbane now, and then I've got accommodations out on the Gold Coast. So we're, so maybe I'll turn into a surfer girl. Probably not. Some really great
have you ever gone back, Charli? Because why? I mean,
I know why.
So honestly, I get that question a lot, and I'm like, I'm trying to get my sister and my family to move here.
Yeah.
But it's really nice out. So yeah, I'll go play for Bond. So it's just affiliated with the university, but it's not like a university club, kind of similar how to like Life West in the WPL and things like that.
But you're not taking classes, or are you?
Absolutely not. I'm done.
Yeah, no, I'm done. Yeah, you've already made all your money in Chicago. You don't need to go back to school for any. Yeah.
No way. Okay, I'm done. I did my time in school.
All right. Actually, Fitzy, you've been down there, right?
I did a semester abroad in Australia. I was in, so I did go up to Brizzy, and I did do a 4X brewery tour at 10 in the morning which was one of the
10 in
best
the morning.
decisions I've ever done in my life. It was hilarious. And I did go up the Gold Coast. You got to go to Byron Bay if you haven't been there yet.
Yes.
You got to go to Nimbin, probably on an off week. Of course, do all of that. Fraser Island. But I was in Wollongong, which is about an hour train ride south of Sydney, right on the water. You got the Illawarra Mountains behind it. It was beautiful. It was fantastic. The rugby was fantastic. It was just everything about it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's stunning around here.
All right, I'll be down there in a little bit. Get a flight.
Yeah. Worth it. It's definitely worth the journey.
Yeah. So, Charli, you and I messaged back and forth a little bit about the last week's game. Like I said, like you said, you were down there with Queensland Reds, part of Super W, Super Rugby. Talk about the program. Talk about, obviously you said Sione hooked you up or helped you with the situation. So talk about your training situations, whatever else. You said you train twice a week, which isn't ideal, obviously, but that is the situation we're in. So talk about the club.
Yeah. So it's much different, like I said, just in comparison to Exeter in England, right? So more so in the Prem, you're definitely full on, you're full time. Whereas here, it's not as professionalized yet, though all the players are on contracts. It's still not as professionalized. So a lot of my teammates, they'll work their full-time job and then they come to training afterwards. So we train on Tuesdays and Thursdays from about 4:30 to 9, which is still a pretty decent, so we have
a long practice.
Yeah, we'll have a unit session, a field session, and then we have a gym. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We don't train on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Where's the brain thing? We train on, I am so sorry, Mondays and Wednesdays.
Have you been to all the trainings? Have you missed a training?
I don't know. Wow.
That's no one here.
Sorry. We train on Mondays and Wednesdays. And then we play our games on Saturdays, sometimes Sundays. But yeah, it's very, very different. The style of rugby is wildly different than to how we play. Sorry, what?
How's the style of rugby different?
Yeah. Like, for example, we played Fiji last week. And, those aren't really like teams that we come up across, when even playing internationally and especially over in the Prem. So it's just a lot more like it is structured, right? Like we have structure, but it's more so like playing what's in front of you. And defending this type of rugby over here is much more exhausting. And I just keep joking around. Like, I hope I can just develop some footwork because I'm just so used to, running at an outside shoulder and running hard and square and things like that. And here it's just, you have to stay alive the entire game, both sides of the breakdown. You never know if they're going to switch directions. And yeah, so it's definitely been a change, but I'm enjoying it a lot.
So we might find you in the wing once in a while when you're tired.
Honestly, you really might, but I'm trying to work. I always write that down. I'm like, keep your work rate high, get in there because it's just it's exhausting. Last week against Fiji was probably, just talking to some of my friends back home, I'm like, it was probably one of the hardest games of rugby I've played to date, even internationally. It's just so different.
So talk about something international. Talk about the players in Super W. Who encompasses this league? You have teammates, like you lose that teammate, Madison Shook is a sevens Australian player. Forrest Tighthead you're going up against this weekend as a Japan international. So talk about the player pool.
Yeah, so a lot of the girls, so we have a couple Wallaroos on our squad right now, predominantly actually in our back line. So Maddie Shook, actually, she is in the 15s Wallaroo squad. Yeah, just recently captain, I think, right before World Cup. But yeah, so you kind of just see there's a lot of like Japan, like Emily Chancellor and Brianna Hoy. They're over for playing for the Warthas. They were in Japan. So everyone's kind of, plays out and then they come home for Super W because Australia, so great for them. They have contracts now, different tiers of contracts. So they actually have to play in the Super W, which is really good for, rugby here in Australia as well. So they can go and do what they want to do, get the playing experience elsewhere, but then they're still coming home and kind of growing the game, like in their home, like in their regions as well. But yeah, so we've got Wallaroos, Fijians, some Kiwis from New Zealand, they come into the mix too. So yeah, different faces, very, very different than just like when we're in the Prem, you know, you've got all your English, Scottish, Irish, and then our big mix of Canadians and Americans over there. So it's really cool to kind of be able to play in this competition and see just the differences.
The accents are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Speaking about the Wallaroos, I mean, a very budding rivalry right now between the Wallaroos and the Women's Eagles. Has there been a little bit of jawing, a little bit of friendly banter back and forth with some of the Wallaroos you've come across? Yeah.
Yeah, there always is. You know, there always is. Like we had a couple Wallaroos over with us at Chiefs, and now I'm here with like Lori, and I've got Liz Patu, who's like the most capped Wallaroo, and so we always just kind of joke around because now they're in tier 1 and we're in tier 2, and we always just mess around with each other like, oh, Charli, that's tier 2 behavior. If you want to I'm like, get out of here. Like, you're not going to be there for too long, my friend. Don't get comfortable. We've got Pac 4 coming up, and we're really working hard and looking to get back into tier 1 where we know we should be.
So I just figured it out. You're actually, Sione sent you down there to scout.
Yeah.
I'm the spy.
Yeah, it's like the Americans or something like that in the show. Yeah. Charli, heading there, what were you expecting? You know, were you expecting to contribute right away like you did?
Honestly, I did actually, having a lot of conversations with the coaches and just kind of how I was going to slot in, you know, came in during preseason. So I was able to, I think I landed on a Sunday night and went to training on Monday, and they ran a Bronco, and that was the only thing that I sat out of. And I was full contact, full noise, everything.
I said that too.
Yeah. And played like, I think I played like something like 30 minutes on the weekend. We flew down to Roma. So I was prepared to go full in and get involved right away. Yeah, it's been a good time. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I bet it seemed like a nice crowd.
Yeah. There's a lot of people actually, and Super W is like it's so crazy just to see like the game in different nations. You know what I mean? Like it's on the news here. Like I've done interviews like literally on the news and you know in the newspaper, and it's crazy how like the sport rallies.
And here. Yeah.
I always feel the love for the Eagles overseas. Okay. But yeah. So it's there. A lot of people came to the games, and unfortunately, I'll be missing the game next weekend because I'm flying to England on Saturday after our match. But it's a double header in Suncorp Stadium, which is going to be like epic. So I'm kind of sad to miss it, but obviously, really, it's a double-edged sword, you know.
We want to jump into USA rugby stuff here in a second, but a couple of photos I saw online I really enjoyed. You know, this is obviously getting your first cap for the team with your teammates. 6 new caps looks like for that match for the club. Yeah. Your coach?
No.
Oh.
No, that's one of the vintage reds. So she played like she's like an old girl. Yeah.
Oh, girl. And this one, you like the pose. Love it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna take my picture, then I'm gonna pose. All right, Fitz, I'm gonna jump forward. Let's go USA Rugby. You mentioned Sione Fukafuka earlier. Have you had conversations with him? And if so, you know, what is he talking to you about for the future, for you specifically?
Yeah, plenty of conversations with Sione. He is definitely like a hands-on coach. Super grateful and lucky to have him in the mix with us now. Yeah, so lots of conversations with him. He's actually been really, really just kind of helpful, like I said, kind of getting me, you know, integrated into rugby out here, making sure that I'm getting everything I need. I'm so far away from everybody else. And so, yeah. Ooh, fine. Sorry, that was a call coming in. Sorry about that. Yeah, in regards to plans with me, I don't know. I think that every coach we've ever had, it's all kind of like, you know, what ifs, you know, you just really never know, you know? So I'm really excited and grateful to have been selected, and feel kind of cool, honestly, that they're flying me all the way from Australia to England just for one test match. So really just kind of taking every opportunity I can to put on the jersey, and hopefully eyes looking forward to Pac-4 WXV and then the World Cup.
Well, yeah, let's talk a little bit about USA Canada, April 28th, back on home soil for the first time in a number of years. I'm glad that's finally getting corrected. But I got to imagine, plans are, it's thank you, Bill, for that graphic. We're coming up on a month out or so from it. Imagine the player pools coming together for that. Is that one that you've got circled on the calendars? Like, hey, Sione, I want to be a part of this one.
Yeah, that's a tough that's a tough one because it's actually the same day as the Super Rugby final.
Geez.
Yeah.
No.
So
well, you're in the future, so you can just take a quick Dateline flight.
I could just hop on a private jet. So haven't had too many conversations around that one yet. But it is obviously like, it's so cool to be able to play in front of a home crowd. And, like you said, we haven't had many opportunities to play at home, especially play Canada at home. So I've got a bunch of friends and family wanting to make the haul down to California. But I don't know. We'll see. Luckily, they're coming this way afterwards. So they're going to come to New Zealand and Australia. So it depends on, I guess, always depends on selections. You never want to be too, you never want to put yourself there before, you just never know. So I'd like to be there. I hope I get to be there. I also hope my team makes it to a Super Rugby final as well. So we'll see.
Well, and go a little further down the road, 25 World Cup in England. I mean, you left England, but you have to go back again soon and then go back again. But that's not that far, right? That's just next year. So obviously that's got to be on your mind.
It's definitely on my mind. Yeah. I think after the last World Cup, everyone's laughing because they're like, Charli, you said you were going to retire after the last one. We've heard this before, the World Cup. It's like such a hard thing to explain it, like we worked so hard and, just didn't really, we made it to a quarterfinal and that felt really good, but obviously falling short to Canada never feels great. And, it didn't really finish the way we wanted it to. So my brain, I'm like, how do you, put all of your effort into one thing and then just leave so unsatisfied. So 2025 is definitely on my mind. And especially in England, the crowd there is going to be absolutely epic. I can't miss out. So it's just pretty much making sure you do whatever you can to be able to get the nod so that you get to go. So working hard for it.
And staying over there in England, Charli, obviously you're keeping up with your former extra teammates, not having the season they had prior to that. But do you communicate much with them? Hope Rogers is playing well again. And do you have a special bond with the front rowers? Like you don't care about the rest? Like Gabby can go away?
I know that they're going to watch this. But Hope and I, all the front rows, we call ourselves the brothers. We've got a very special bond, but especially at Chiefs, like I definitely keep up with all of them. I went there on holiday actually over New Year's Eve, and Susie was like, hop into training. So I actually trained on their holiday.
Right.
I even got this new season's kit. So definitely keeping up with them. Gabby and Rachel are like my best friends, and Hope too. So, always keeping up with them.
Do you have any insight for us on Alicia Washington? Do you know what her status is at all?
She's in camp right now.
Okay, good.
So they're all assembled right now and she's in camp. And I think that, I know that she's just coming back from some, injuries and things, but I don't want to disclose like anything.
No. Yeah, we get it. Don't get in trouble with us
right now. And I know that she's working hard and, up for selection for, Pac-4 and WXV. So
awesome.
We love Alicia. We love her big, strong body. So
let's get her back out there. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit WPL, Women's Premier League, new season starting next month. The league's been getting more attention, the quality of players going up. Ideally, right, we keep the women's Eagles, here in the U.S., obviously getting paid more. It is fun. I got to imagine you enjoy playing overseas, but to be able to build what what's happening in England and Australia and making it here and really boosting the WPL, I guess I'm getting to a question here, but what will it take for us, everyone here, to get the game here in the U.S. so that the WPL is a fully professional league and an option for not only women's Eagles but overseas players to come here and play?
Yeah.
I don't expect you to have all the answers. So I know the question. Yeah.
No, that's a good question, and it's something that we talk about all the time because everyone kind of we hear comments, right, about all this being overseas and how we should be at home and you get paid. And it's like, we get paid. I had to come home from England because I'm too old to be living off my credit card. So it's definitely not for the money. You know what I mean? It's just obviously for the love of the game. Nobody plays rugby for cash, but I think that to get it where it needs to be in America, I think unfortunately, it does need money, right? It needs investors. It needs people to buy into it because it's not just about paying players, right? It's about if you want to see success, if you want your teams to, make it to quarterfinals, semifinals at World Cups and consistently do well in their international test matches, you have to kind of supplement the cost of living almost, it's impossible. And it's so challenging. I did it for so long when I was playing in the WPL, working out before work, teaching full time, then going out and working out again, then going to grad school full time, and then going to North Shore training. And then, just trying to be selected for USA. And, fortunately enough, I was, but there's so many talented athletes in America that could play at this level, but they're just not getting the opportunity to because of cost. It's how do you don't want to retire with nothing, and unfortunately that's just kind of where it is. But I think we need money. I think that we also need better coaches. Because, it's I would come home. I love America and I love my family and I love all my friends and I love Chicago. But, if we want to get to where we want to be as a sport and as a nation, we need quality coaching. And we're not paying our coaches. So it's a hard place to be right now, I think. But I think it is trending upwards. And I think now that we're hosting the 2031, 2033 World Cup, I think that we're going to see a lot more support than we might have had in the past. So I'm really staying hopeful and positive for this next upcoming generation and just kind of the likes of them and the support that they're going to be able to receive.
I think, unfortunately, I think what's going to take is kind of what they're doing over in England, is working with the premiership clubs. Have that. It's just me going with it. Maybe have the same seasons, the spring seasons. You have the Chicago Hounds with the Chicago. I'm sorry, I forget the women's team there. The name.
The Lions.
Anyway, yes, thank you. Maybe having them travel together, matches same day kind of thing. If we could just get double headers, get people in the crowd to watch both matches. I think it's one way of doing it. Obviously, takes money, but on its own. And then, like you down there, once that season's over, you're playing for the local club.
Yeah,
and you can do that here as well. That's just my 2 cents worth.
Well, and too, no, I completely agree about, and also with that too, how many times have the USA men played, Canada, New Zealand at home? Those are massive opportunities for double headers for the women. Yeah. There was a time that USA played Canada, the women, on a Monday night, and the men played the Friday before that against Canada. It's what? That's a double header. That's how you get people, how you're talking about, pack the stands. That's how you do it, and it's just sometimes the cost just doesn't support that. But if we can just find ways to get the men and women to kind of, play those double headers, or I just think that we can grow the game that way and get bigger crowds and just get more people hell yeah, this is awesome,
Go ahead, Fitz.
No, I was just gonna comment, from what you've seen in Australia and when you were in England too, and in the US, the comparison between just maybe the college game, right, where the college game in the US is convoluted, right? There's like a bunch of different leagues doing it, but it seems like more programs are coming online. Women's rugby is an emerging sport in the NCAA, so I think it's maybe like around 10 or so that are 10 more, and then it can be officially become, I think, like a varsity sport if I have that correctly. Certainly at the top level, there's a few programs that seem to be dominating year over year, but I guess from what you've seen traveling around the world, how would you rate the college game, say in the US compared to Australia, England?
To be honest, I don't know much about like the college, that grade level here in Australia. So I think I feel a little bit more confident kind of comparing it to something like in England.
Sure.
I think that it's definitely on its way. The only difference is that the kids in England that are playing at university, the level is just so fast and it's just so smart. But it's because they've been playing since they're so young, whereas our, college athletes are finding it, they're crossover athletes, or they're just finding it when they get into college. And, they're outstanding athletes, so they're able to excel in the sport. But, having not had played it since we're younger, we've got soccer, basketball, football, baseball, softball, things like that. We're always kind of playing catch up. But I do think, though, like some of my friends who are involved in those like Ivy League programs, those Big Ten, the NCAA programs that you're talking about, I really do think that they're taking the programs in the right way. And I think that it is exciting. And we're actually now starting to see more of those players kind of trickle into the women's senior side. Like Frida, like our teammate Frida at Lindenwood, an outstanding athlete. Lindenwood has, massive laundry list full of like accomplishments, and now we're starting to see players like her just push on straight through, skipping age grades and pushing straight into the senior side. So they got to be doing something right,
All right, 2 more questions for you. I'm going to ask you a serious question, then Fitzy has a less serious question.
Okay.
I'm not sure what it is yet. Do you know what it is? Okay.
I'll think of something.
All right. Post-career, where do we see Charli?
That is a serious question. I think that I finally feel like I'm in a good place to say that after the 2025 World Cup, obviously always pending selections, I'm going to definitely retire just because a little old. I am a teacher. I love that. But I think that I really just am so passionate about growing the game at home. And I think that having played in these 2 massive leagues, I feel like I'm, collecting all this information, learning from all these outstanding coaches to bring that back home. And I ideally would love to coach. I love set piece. I love everything defense. So ideally, I would like to get involved in one of these NCAA programs and kind of help push these athletes along through the pathway and produce more Eagles, really. So hopefully that's where I'll be, but who knows? I'm with the wind. You can't be sure.
All right, Fitzy. Here you go.
I guess I gotta. Okay. So I had a moment to think about it, Charli, and we've had a number of your current USA Women's Eagles teammates on this program before in the past, and one of the questions I enjoy asking is it's kind of a 2-parter here. Who is the funniest player on the Women's Eagles squad, and who thinks they are the funniest player on the Women's Eagles squad?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Who's the funniest and who thinks they're the funniest?
Yeah.
I won't pick myself.
No. That's funny.
Your name has come up as an answer, I believe, from others. So, yeah.
Of course it has.
You've been selected. Yeah.
As the one who thinks they're the funniest.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I'd just like to not know that part. I would say we've got some extreme jokesters. I would say the funniest person on the team. Oh man. Oh, I could tell you who thinks they're the funniest.
Even better.
I don't know. Davy is really, really funny, but it's like this. She's got a little bit of a dry sense of humor, and she'll just like one-off say things that are just zingers, and they get you. So I'm gonna say she's definitely up there. Who's funniest? Honestly, it's really hard that I can't pick myself.
Hey, what? I'll give you an out here.
You can.
What's been one of the best pranks you've either been a part of or the victim of?
the victim of.
Yeah, and this is a family friendly show. So
yeah.
yeah.
Of course. Benson is kind of the prankster of the team. And so she's really known for she was always on the scare cam. You know what I mean? Always trying to jump out of somewhere and get a good scream. She always is razzing up Katana. And it's so funny because Katana gets so mad.
I can see that.
I think I'm more so not a victim. I'm just going to say a witness because she knows not to mess with me. And I think I'm better for like shock value. I've got the big laugh, so she uses me for the shock value, I think. But I think the Benson and Katana scare duo is always really, really funny.
All right, Charli, I'm going to let you go. Thank you a ton. And also, good luck this weekend against Western Forest. And you're starting again.
Yes.
They played well last week, so you definitely work's going to be cut out for you. So good luck this weekend. And good luck with USA when you travel over to England. Hopefully see you in Canada. Well, no, we don't. So hold on. Hopefully we don't see you in LA because you're playing in the finals. Sorry, I was paying attention. And hopefully we see you in 2025 in the World Cup, too. Let's go with that.
Yeah, I like that one. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
All right, take care. Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye. The Lotto.
Oh, sorry. Wait, she was saying, wait, don't go away. Wait, all right, she's back. What?
Still there.
I don't know. I'm losing connection. Goodbye.
All right, fine. That was funny. Good. I knew she'd be good. She would be a really fun person to talk to, and that's great stuff.
I think the first show in this new format video here where we've had two guests, right? Right.
We had James Dealey come on for a bit at one point, but it was that with and then Phil from Jack's Rangers dropped in for 5 seconds. But this is you're right. This is an official way we've been doing it when we were on Twitter Spaces and Clubhouse and wherever else we were. Two guests. Yeah. So this is our first time doing two guests in one night. I feel like it was more, maybe not. Anyway, just last week. No, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. We'll go back. I don't pay attention. But yeah. Worked out well. I like it. Two good guests. Davy Coetzer and Charli Jacoby. Coetzer? I said is that?
You were close. He said he was diplomatic. He said you were close. He said he'd give it to you.
He's not gonna call me out. He's scared of me. Hey, before we let everyone go, let's do this really quick. I'm gonna talk about Uproar really quick. If you didn't catch the beginning of the show, coming up this weekend, I did an interview with the two directors of the movie Uproar, starring Julian Dennison, about the Maori racism issues back in the 1980s, and there's some rugby in there as well. So fun interview with them. Check that out this weekend. And Fitzy, one more time, talk about tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. We are giving away 6 tickets, so 3 sets of 2 tickets. You can win 2 free tickets either from Rugby Morning, 2 free tickets from Eagle Overseas, or 2 free tickets from this show, US Rugby Happy Hour Live. You just have to follow, comment to enter yourself for a chance to win 2 tickets to the USA Women's Eagles match versus Canada, April 28th. And if you don't win the ticket giveaway, it's all good. Consolation prize, you can receive 10% off your ticket purchase by using promo code either Eagle Overseas or Rugby Morning. We'll share out the link. But please, just go to the game. Let's pack the house.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I wish I could be there. Still think about that, especially if it's a Free Jacks playing against LA before that one. Who knows? But no word. Hey, take a chance. Tickets are cheap enough anyway. Buy the tickets, and if it ends up being your team from MLR playing, think about that. You get to see USA play and your MLR team play. I feel like we're on QVC. I feel like we're selling get your.
Wait, there's more.
There's more. Slices and dices. All right, that's good. Hey, listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn as well. Please follow, and subscribe all of these platforms. Subscribe, especially YouTube. We're really trying to build YouTube right now. Get that more in front of more and more people. And be sure to follow Eagles Overseas and Rugby Morning on all your social media channels. And share with your friends, enemies alike. We appreciate it. We don't mind. We don't care if you hate them. Get them to listen to the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Fitzy, good one. Have a great weekend. Good luck to DC this weekend, and we'll touch base next week. Cheers.
Cheers.